Okay, let's call this meeting of the Haysville Planning Commission to order. First item of business is roll call.
Nazir,
Present.
Hatcher. Here. Williams,
Here.
Coleman. Here. Rankin.
Here.
Plummer,
Here.
Blood.
Here. Next item is presentation and approval of the minutes of December 9th, 2021.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Have a motion and second to approve the minutes as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Any abstentions for people that weren't here for that meeting? Under special order of business, we have a conditional use permit. Staff want to present that? Do we start with the script?
Sorry.
That's right. Your glance was enough to guide me. The Kansas Supreme Court has defined the role of the Planning Commission as a quasi-judicial function to protect the rights of all parties involved and in order to create an opportunity for everyone to speak their opinions and present information to assist the Planning Commission in reaching a decision. The fact-finding procedure we use is available on a paper by the door. We now formally open the public hearing regarding the conditional use permit to allow the assisted living facility use on lots 1 through 12, Block B, eastern 36 feet of Lot 13, Block B, lots 16 through 22, Block C of River Forest Addition to Haysville, Kansas, Sedgwick County. Have any planning commission members had any outside contact regarding this case? If so, please indicate who you have spoken to and the nature of the conversation. I talked to staff at PEC and verified the traffic counts. Anybody else? Do any members of the commission have a conflict of interest in this case? If so, please disqualify yourself from further action on the planning commission for this case. Has the planning commission secretary received any written or electronic communications on this matter?
No.
Now, will the planning commission secretary please present the staff report?
Good evening. You have on the screen in front of you, there should be an overall map. This is just as Haysville. You can see the cursor up in the River Forest area. I just want everybody to know that are new to planning to kind of know the area that we're talking about. So this is just the first screen, the overview. This next screen, the highlighted area is actually the application area. The lots that are highlighted in green is the area that we're talking about for the conditional use. So just want to make sure everybody understood the location. The current zoning of the property is residential A. The lot size is 7.04 acres. The proposed use is a conditional use permit to allow the assisted living facility use. The subject property and surrounding properties are zoned A residential and were platted on January 25th, 2001. The undeveloped property went to sheriff's tax foreclosure sale by auction in 2015. The Haysville Land Bank purchased the property to continue development for the city. The western portion of the area has 38 lots zoned single-family residential A and 7 lots zoned 2, 3, and 4 family B. The proposed used area is currently vacant. When considering a conditional use permit, we look at the following criteria. So I'm going to go through each one of these. Number 1, access and traffic load and/or flow. Access to the facility will be gained via private road coming from the south that will connect with Carla Avenue once it is constructed. Traffic load, the current River Forest second edition subdivision plat with remaining consists of 39 lots. A single family housing development, 39 lots, will generate 437 trips a weekday. The proposed assisted living facility, 51 units and approximately 19 independent living units, will generate 292 trips a weekday, approximately 145 fewer trips a weekday than single family development. Traffic flow will be from Carla Avenue from the south of the proposed facility headed north on a private road. Noise, light, and odor. There is an anticipated decrease in the noise of the proposed land use versus 39 single-family residential lots. Light, exterior lighting for the facility will need to follow off-street parking requirements. No increase in odor is anticipated from the land use. Screening. The land use is being interpreted or classified as assisted living for this item. For the zoning ordinance, landscaping, screening, and buffering requirements of this application are broken down into 2 parts. A is landscaping and screening for parking lots. All new parking lots or additions to parking lots shall be continuously screened from the view from adjacent residential districts and certain types of streets. 2, screening for mechanical equipment, loading docks, and trash receptacles. Screening shall be provided to reasonably hide from ground level view all ground level heating, air conditioning, and other mechanical equipment, loading docks, trash receptacles, or similar uses from adjoining street right-of-ways or from adjoining properties that are zoned residential district or used for residential purposes. Such screening shall be based on a landscape plan approved by the Public Works Director or their designee. Parking. Assisted living facilities are considered a residential type of land use and required to provide 0.75 parking spaces per unit. 51 units are planned, less 38 parking spaces are required. The private drive and parking lot will meet requirements of the Sedgwick County Fire Code as it relates to emergency vehicle access. Services, water, sewer, electricity, gas, and communications are available to the site. Public health and safety. It is anticipated the proposed land use would provide a healthy and safe environment to the residents of the proposed facility and the community itself. Adequacy of the facility and lot. The size of the proposed facility appears to be adequate for the needs of the community with the ability to expand. The city does not have a lot coverage regulatory maximum. Signs. Sign regulations for residential subdivisions shall apply. For freestanding types of signs, 2 shall be permitted per subdivision entrance at the maximum size of 64 square feet and the maximum height of 8 feet. Review by the fire marshal for designation. The Sedgwick County Fire Marshal has reviewed the report and has no concern with the designation. The building will be treated as light commercial for the building permitting and inspection process. 10, other considerations as appropriate. A couple of important points to consider about the proposed requested assisted living facility. In 2018, senior living market feasibility study was done by an outside consultant to comprehensively look at the status of the community as a whole and then make recommendations from that. If you review the executive summary, there is a need for both assisted living and independent living in Haysville. As quoted from the Kansas Housing Needs Assessment released in December of 2021, the significant national increase in 65-plus-year-old households is leading to more people that desire smaller homes and low-maintenance housing. The web-based 2021 Haysville Community Survey consisted of 33 questions. One question asked, does the city need to encourage the development of assisted living facility within its boundaries? 68% of respondents said yes. Lastly, future development plans include independent living lots that will serve as a buffer between the assisted living use lots from the River Forest First Edition. Based upon the information, staff recommends that the conditional use request be approved with the following conditions. 1, requires screening along the entire east side of the property, current lots 1 through 6, block V, as presented. 2, requires screening for mechanical equipment, loading docks, and trash receptacles, etc., as presented. This recommendation is based on the following findings. The January 2016 Haysville Comprehensive Plan's land use map shows the site as residential. The plan identifies housing with the goal to provide a variety of housing for current and future populations. Approving the conditional use is not expected to have a detrimental effect on the public health, safety, and welfare. The proposed land use will have minimal impacts on the public due to its low intensity. Community service would not be negatively impacted by the assisted living facility being built. Answer any questions you might have of that.
Any questions for staff?
I do. So when you were talking about emergency vehicles, was there consideration for like more ambulances maybe coming through that area? Because it's kind of all residential roads going into there, so.
No, just in means of, with a cul-de-sac doing turnaround, the adequate turnaround ability for what's required for a fire truck is what I was considering with that, which would be looked at with the plat.
Thank you. Is the applicant or his agent present? His or her agent present?
So as an agent of the land bank is the applicant, but I would like to turn it over to Joe Perkin, Vice President of Operations for Midwest Health.
It's great to be with you guys tonight. Joe Perkin with Midwest Health. Wanted to, I think we have a PowerPoint to pull up. Okay. Just want to give you a little bit of background on Midwest Health and maybe show you some examples of projects that we've done. Company has been around for since 1977. We are a Kansas-based company, family owned. Still have our CEO is still one of the original founders. We have grown from one building in 1977. We have 81 communities now. We have skilled nursing and rehab facilities, assisted living, and also independent living. Kansas, obviously most of our properties are in Kansas. We have Iowa, Oklahoma, Nebraska, and Missouri. Our main brand or brand name of our communities is Homestead. We have several in the Wichita area. This is one of our communities that we built in Missouri at Lake of the Ozarks, which happens to be where I'm from. So very proud of this project. Next slide. That's the interior of Arrowhead. This is nursing home and assisted living. Go to the next slide. This is Eudora. This is in Eudora, Kansas. This would be very similar to the type of design that we're looking at for a Haysville community. This is about the same size, has memory care and assisted living. So you can see there's stone with the hardy board siding. So we take since 1977 we've sold one of our communities. So we are not we are a larger company now, but we're not a company that comes in and flips buildings or just buys them and makes profit or takes profit and moves on. We keep our communities. We like to be a part of the community that we come into, and that's why we're here. That's why I'm here tonight. Want to answer any questions, any concerns you guys might have, because this is really a long-term investment for us. And so this, just like Eudora, we plan to keep this community for a long time and very proud of it. So next slide. This is the courtyard. This is a fairly new facility, so obviously we have more landscaping and development as the community matures, as the facility matures. But we do like to have that safe inner courtyard so residents can be out there and enjoy the sun and enjoy the nice weather. Next slide, please. This is the interior of one of the rooms. This is actually a room on the memory care. These are a little bit smaller. We also have one bedrooms that are a little bit larger. Typically, the memory care units are smaller just because, for residents, it's confused. It's a better environment for them. As you can see, once a resident gets out of bed, or if they do get out of bed at night, they can see. Usually, that's to go to the restroom, so they can easily see the toilet there. So just once again, we design our rooms to try to be as safe as possible for the residents. Next slide, please. This is just a back patio, screened in porch there for the residents to enjoy. Kind of gives you. This is another kind of courtyard area that's fenced in. Once again, it's secure that the residents can enjoy. This is our dining area. So this is kind of a self-service or for the staff to use. Area kind of gives you an idea of some of the lighting that lighting is huge for us. Obviously, as people age, sight can be a problem. So we really try to design our communities to be as well lit as possible, both with natural light and with artificial light. So this is another view of the dining area. Next slide, please. All right, so that's kind of an example. So this is the actual layout that we are proposing for Haysville, and shows the community there kind of, and we'll do kind of zoom in on that a little bit in the next slides, but kind of gives you an idea of how those streets go, like we talked about with the cul-de-sac and the turnaround there on the north part, and then so on the southern part would be the independent living community. So we would look at some duplexes, some single family options. We haven't fully decided on that. The first phase would be the assisted living and memory care that you see there with the parking. Next slide, please. So this kind of gives you, this is just kind of zoomed in on the building. You can see there where the dining area is, where the circle drive, the front entrance where the office and the main area is, and then To the north there would be the memory care unit. We put those in kind of a square shaped or rectangular shape. That way the staff can easily monitor the residents, and then we have dining, separate dining for those folks there. Then the rest of that is the regular assisted living portion. Next slide, please. So it's kind of another kind of zoom in on the dining and the central core area there in the kitchen. So this is kind of the elevations of the building, and kind of once again, would look very similar to the pictures that we looked at in our Eudora facility. Just kind of at the top there, you have to the right would be a patio area too, with coming off the dining area, and of course there, kind of in the middle, is the front with the portico share. Okay, next slide. And then this is kind of some architectural renderings of what it would look like. Obviously, that we haven't decided fully on coloring, but that was proposed by our architect and our designers. We may also look at the more, the grays like we did in Eudora as well, but very similar style to what we did there. Okay, I think that's it. So a couple things. Once again, we've done a lot of projects in communities similar to Haysville, and I think even in some of the documentation that there was some residents wrote about the importance of keeping folks in town instead of having them go to Derby or having them go to Wichita. That people are very loyal to Haysville for obvious reasons. It's a great town and great people, and so not having to drive, even if you have to drive 20 minutes, especially in traffic or whatever, as opposed to being 10 or 5 minutes away in your own community, is something that we've been requested by many communities to come in and do that. And so we take great pride in that. I'm from a small town in Missouri, and I understand the importance, even if when you're kind of in maybe a larger metropolitan area, you still have that civic pride of your own town. And so we want to be able to provide that to you guys and to the community here, be able to hire local folks. This will be probably in the neighborhood of 50 to 60 employees that we will hire. And that will get ramped up over time, obviously, with the census, with more residents, more staff. We always try to hire local folks. We very rarely bring people in from other communities unless that's something that we feel is best. But 9 times out of 10, we try to hire local folks. When I hire the leadership for this building, I want them to be somebody who lives here, who's preferably from here and understands the community. And two, as far as some of the concerns about the screening, that's something we certainly dealt with in a lot of our projects and a lot of the towns that we've gone into. So we understand that. Once again, we want to be good neighbors and a good part of the community. So we don't want to do anything and I live in Johnson County, and we actually just are finishing up a project in Leawood. And I will tell you, if we can get something approved in Leawood and get it through, then I'm confident, that they're extremely, extremely picky there. And I can say that, I guess, because I'm a Johnson County person as well. But so we understand culturally every community we go into is different, and the surrounding neighbors there, they may want different things, and so we want to try to do our best to be good neighbors. As far as noise goes, I mean, our staff come in, at around 6 in the morning, and for the most part, they're well behaved. And then we usually have shift change at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then we have a shift change maybe 10 to 11 o'clock as well. But those aren't a mass of people coming in and out, and so that's never been an issue for us. And once again, we're in Johnson County, we're in large communities, and we're also in very, very rural and small towns that are in residential areas. And that's something that's never been of concern. We probably will have a generator. A generator is not something that we hopefully run a lot. We do have to do tests on that, but that's stuff that happens during the day, during reasonable hours. And we have screening that we put around those. And as was mentioned, as far as my boss, our CEO, he's involved in the design. He's, once again, because he doesn't sell buildings, he's very picky about what they look like, and having, HVAC systems and heating and cooling systems that are kind of eyesores, or you can see, is a big pet peeve of his. So I can assure you that we will do everything we can to make the building look pretty. And it will also, we deal, and certainly had to deal with this in Leawood, as far as headlights from the employees or from visitors, with the screening, and to make sure that that is not intrusive into the neighbors that are close by there. I think that's as far as kind of the presentation. Take any questions or whatever the next phase would be. So,
I have a question.
yes.
How long have you been in talks with the city?
For a couple of years, I think. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That explains the hate mail.
Any other questions for the applicant's agent, I guess?
I do. I have
Yes.
some questions. For the independent
Yes.
part of this, what do you anticipate, how many bedrooms do you anticipate those having?
Typically we do 2, maybe 3, but typically a lot of those are just 2 bedrooms. Yeah, sometimes like 2 bedrooms and maybe an office. Yeah, we have a couple different design. Part of the process with the independent living will be to probably do kind of a focus group, or get some community folks together and ask them what kind of,
I would love to be on that, Georgie.
okay, what kind of things that they would like. Because we did that at Lake of the Ozarks. What people want at Lake of the Ozarks versus here is probably going to be different. So we like to have an idea, because we are in business, so we do want to be able to sell those or rent those. So.
Okay, and then will the facility itself have transportation?
It will.
What about safe rooms? We have
We do. Yep.
bad storms. Okay.
Yep. So we've designed it with enough. I believe there's 2 enough to house all the residents and the appropriate staff to be within. Yes. Yep.
Okay. And then recreation. I didn't see any, and again, I'm talking independent, so I didn't see any pool tables or.
Sure. Now, we will, in the, as far as the independent living goes, those would be separate, so we won't necessarily have a clubhouse or an activity center.
Okay.
What we do with that is we, whether that's a transportation, or we have one person that kind of helps organize activities, so going to the casino, or doing, going out to dinner, and if people want to do that as part of the larger community. We will also have options for the independent living folks to use to access the assisted living, especially as far as meals go. So if they want to do takeout meals, then that will be an option to them. Because that's obviously a big part of what we do, and we try to really focus in on our dining and make that a quality experience. So hopefully people will want to come and pick up food from us in the assisted living. Yeah.
That's all I have.
Any other questions?
I don't know if it's for him or if it'd be for a city, but any issues with that cul-de-sac being in those lots for expansion later on?
Yep.
Maybe it's the wrong time, sorry.
The lots that the cul-de-sac is going into on that drawing, those are actually going to be transferred over to Midwest Health as well. So then those would be probably involved in the replat, and it would replat to allow some assisted living around the cul-de-sac, or independent living around the cul-de-sac, I believe.
Okay,
So I don't think that would be an issue now.
okay.
Is the intent to not connect that to the neighborhood itself? To always have it as a
Correct.
cul-de-sac?
So then there would be no additional traffic on K from what's already there now with the residents that are already on K.
That's where I was going.
Okay.
They were gonna-
Yeah, and obviously we have certain regulations we have to have for fire, and I think that was mentioned, fire and.
Well, that's my other question is,
Yeah.
now, do you create a situation on the other side where a fire truck can't turn around because there's no cul-de-sac on the other side?
Yeah. We are going to, as a city, look at the resolution of that to make sure that an emergency vehicle can turn around on K.
Okay.
We haven't fully delved into that yet.
Okay. Do you have?
I do have one more.
Yes.
Again, with the independent, would there be any garages attached to these?
That would be part of a focus group and discussion, because we get both. Some say that they don't need it, or that they don't, as far as the cost of it, it's cost prohibitive. We have some so there may be a mix, but that would be something that we would want to discuss with the kind of a
Okay.
focus group, yes.
I have no idea if audio's picking you up or not.
Okay,
but-
yeah.
Sorry.
I'm a wanderer, sorry.
Maybe it's good, I don't know, but I thought. Okay,
My wife gets on to me for that.
any other questions? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Now is the time for any member of the public to speak. Please remember, you're welcome to present your opinion, but past court rulings require that we make decisions based on facts, so factual evidence is more helpful than opinion. You have 5 minutes. Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak? I have. So does she still need to state her name and address, or do we have it here?
She still needs to state it.
Okay.
I'm Susie Sutton from 349 East K Avenue in Haysville. And thank you for allowing me the time. I actually just have a couple questions. One was answered, I'd asked several times from the mayor about how the streets would be laid out, and it got answered tonight. So I appreciate that. Another question I have is I don't understand the requirement of the screening on the east side, but there's been no mention of any screening for the other side of the neighborhood. It's like, okay, we're gonna protect the houses on this side, but, we're not gonna take into account the houses on the west side. So I would like, that to be a consideration. And then the other question is about, the plan was, while those were gonna be residences, there would be the HOA on the east side and the HOA on the west side, and we were gonna have to work together. Now, I would like to, I know there wouldn't be the answer tonight, but how is it going to work that now there's gonna be a corporation and an HOA? And I know it's all separate land, but there is a pond. And so how are the two organizations supposed to work together? Because you can't just say, okay, both of you take care of the pond separately. And so, those are two questions I have to be considered.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
thank you.
Do you guys have answers to those or wish to address those?
Yeah.
The pond's a great, both of those are great questions. So yes, we would want to, because we've been in situations before, our company does more than just assisted living, they do other developments too, so that's been it. So we will want to have a kind of a clear understanding with the HOA on how that will be maintained and whose responsibility it is. So I think it'll probably be, some sort of split, agreement. But that's a great, because we're not gonna want, and for our residents, we don't want a nasty pond out there. Right, for them to look at. I mean, that's, as you can see, that's one thing that we did with we took advantage of that view. And that's how we set up so the residents could look out on that. So we want to make sure it's as nice as possible. So yeah, that'll be something that we want to clearly lay out with the HOA and come to an agreement on that before we start. As far as the screening on the west side, I think the east side was focused on because it's closer, because cars and everything will be there. So that those folks, may have, we don't want light shining into their living rooms. So the distance, and as part of the design, we will take a look at that with the architects and with the landscape designers to see, is that going to be a problem going the other way? But we usually invest a lot in our landscaping, and so we'll want to make sure that, we make it look pretty all the way around, not just on the east side. So, yeah, great questions.
Do you have any other comments? based on those answers that you'd like to,
No, not based on
okay. It's on the script, so I have to,
Okay, thank you.
Everyone want to say?
oh,
Excuse me. My name is Ray Held, live at 702 Carter Court. My property is going to be right on the corner where the entryway will be coming through. I guess this is a new private road, if I understood the description. Is Carlet going to be extended now from where it is all the way over to Delos? Is the city going to extend Carlet? I'm right on that corner, that's why I'm asking.
yeah, I think,
Yeah, the plan is to take Carla Avenue from Delos all the way over to the courts over there. So yeah, it would go through, and we would do it in conjunction with the building of the assisted living. So I don't know the exact timeframe yet.
yeah, if,
Yeah, okay.
you gotta come back up to the,
So with that, is there going to be some type of traffic control? Because I think everybody knows that Carla already has some speed issues from Delos to Seneca. So if we make that a straightaway to Broadway, will there be any way to keep traffic under control?
that'd have to be part of the street design itself.
Yeah, this topic is kind of beyond the conditional use permit, but it's something that has been discussed at the staff level with the chief, and we've looked at different things, up to and including speed tables. So I cannot give you an answer as to what we would do now, but that can be looked into further.
It's an issue you're aware of and are working to address.
Yes.
Thanks, Will. Okay. Anything else from the public? Public comment portion of the public hearing is now closed, and the floor is open to commissioners' comments. Acceptance of a conditional use permit must be based on the following considerations. The proposed uses will not be contrary to the public interest. The spirit of the article is observed, that public safety and welfare is secured, and that substantially equal treatment under the law is preserved. Sorry. As such, the criteria laid out before you, these 10 points and the 10 points that were the headlines for what Georgie presented, are what can be considered. Any discussion? No discussion, I would entertain a motion.
I'd make a motion to approve the request at this time.
I'll second.
I have a motion and second to approve. All in favor? Those opposed? Thank you. Thank you all. No new business, no old business. Any correspondence? Any committee updates? Any off agenda? Item 10.
I'd make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that as well.
A motion and second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.